Well, good morning. Here we are, another beautiful morning here out on the property, on the homestead. We're going to tackle right now, we've been struggling with the engine batteries not holding a charge. The solar is only hooked up to the house batteries. It's kind of two separate systems, and two different types of batteries. So you can't really hook them together. So I bought an additional 100 watt solar panel and charge controller just for the engine batteries. So that's what we're going to do this morning. We'll take you along in case you've never installed a solar or charge controller before, and we'll get that done. So what we have here is a 100 watt solar kit, brought to you or purchased from Amazon. It's a basic kit. It wasn't a horrible price, and it was quick and easy. So that's what we got. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Kit comes with I think it's 13 feet of cable to go from the solar panel to the charge controller, and pretty short cables to go from the batteries to the charge controller. So that's one thing to keep in mind when you're ordering this stuff, is check the length of the cables. Make sure that it'll work for you. And then this is a PWM charge controller here. Seems pretty decent. I mean, it's all plastic like they all are. It does have a couple of USB inputs if you want to charge your phone off the charge controller, but this isn't going to be permanently mounted, just like our other one. I'll show you that later. They're just hanging out in the electrical compartment. It's not going to be their permanent location. It's just where they're going to be while we're on the property. At some point before we start cruising around the world in the motorhome, we will permanently mount the solar panels and charge controllers. So there you go. The solar plugs in here where it's marked solar, battery goes here, and then this would go out to load, to an inverter or whatever. This is pretty light duty. I believe this is only a 20 amp. It is. It's a 20 amp charge controller, but for a single 100 watt solar panel, it's a pretty good deal. And this is our 100 watt solar panel. And then these are kind of handy. These are brackets to mount your solar panel on your whatever location, and then you can adjust the angle of tilt. For us, for now, it's just going to sit flat. It'll catch enough sun during the morning and early afternoon to do what we need it to do. There's not a lot. We don't utilize those coach batteries on a regular basis. The engine batteries on a regular basis, but they do operate a few systems inside, and that's what's draining them. There's no off switch for those batteries. So the only time they get charged is when we're hooked up to the generator. So this will be the solution for that. Okay, this is our battery compartment right here. These two red batteries are 6-volt golf cart style batteries, 235 amp hour. Those are wired in series to get 12 volts. There's room for 4, but we haven't done that when we replace our batteries. These are the engine batteries. You can see on the house batteries, you can see these are the solar charge wires here and here that go to those for the 12 volt charging. These are the engine batteries, and then this is the electrical bay right here, and this is the charge controller that's on for the house battery. You can see it's currently charging at 4.8 amps, 13.1 volts on the system. So there you go. It's doing what it's supposed to do. So our job is to hook the charge controller or wires to these batteries here, and then we'll put the charge controller in that bay if the wires are long enough, and then we will do just like we did with the other solar panels. We'll just run the wires up the side of the coach onto the roof for the solar panel. Okay, so one of the things you want to do before installing your charge controller is make sure you read the directions clearly. This particular charge controller, maybe all of them, I'm not sure, all say to make sure you hook the battery up to the charge controller before you hook the solar up to the charge controller. I'm not exactly sure why that is, but that's what we're going to do. Unfortunately, I realized that I didn't bring a screwdriver. But that's okay, we still have to hook the battery cables up. I've already checked, and the cables are long enough to go from the battery. I have the tray slid out right now and then into this bay. So they're barely long enough, but they are long enough. So we're going to hook the positive up first. No reason. Actually, I'm going to hook the negative, or disconnect the negative, then hook the positive up. That way we don't end up with any accidental grounding issues when we're messing with the positive side of the battery. And while you're under here, just make sure and check your connections that they're all good and snug. The same with checking the water in your batteries. These batteries are sealed, so there's nothing to check. The house batteries, however, are not sealed, and they are a little bit low on water, so I'll be adding distilled water to those when we're done with this part. So we have the charge controller. We're going to hook the positive into the positive side of the charge controller. Tighten it down. Nice and snug. We're going to hook the negative. Charge controller starts coming to life. It has an error. Don't know why. Maybe because we don't have any solar in it yet. Guess we'll find out. Now we are going to need to hook the solar panels cables up to it. Now these cables are not nearly quite as long as my other cables that I have. They're also a lot lighter duty, which is fine.
See, not paying attention. For those of you that don't know, these are color coded. Black is in DC, black is always ground. DC was like automotive type current, direct current. Okay. Let's push these in out of the way. Okay. These have the weather type connectors, very common. I forget what they're called, but they're already installed to match the solar panel. So when you buy a kit, it's kind of handy that they do that. We're going to go test it real quick, hook it up to the solar panel and see how things are. Okay, these are the cables on the back of the solar panel, clearly marked positive and negative. So we're just going to do a test right now. We'll hook them up and see, make sure that the charge controller is controlling, the panel is supplying electricity to that. Not real bright sun out right now, but it should be enough to register. Now we'll go back over and check the charge controller. I'm not sure what this error is. Maybe we should look at the directions. Okay, so we have a fault code or an error code on the controller that's flashing about once every second. According to the book, it's that the batteries are over discharged to. Nope, it just quit. Huh. I don't know, but something just clicked and now we have voltage on our batteries. I'm not sure what that was. Just goes to show you, I don't know everything. Okay, so we're showing an error because the battery voltage on the engine batteries has dropped too low. I don't know that it will charge that way, so I'm going to fire up the generator, get those batteries charged up, and let's see if that changes things down the road. So in the meantime, before I fire up the generator, I'm going to go ahead and put the solar panel up on the roof and get maximum sunlight for it. That should be okay. Okay, solar panels on the roof. The cables were just long enough. All right, now we're going to fire up the generator. All right, so the default setting for this on the type of battery is sealed lead acid. And the two engine batteries that we have are commercial truck batteries, and they are sealed lead acid, so we didn't have to change that setting at all. The only setting I changed was the setting for the load. Since we don't have a load coming off of this at all, and we're just using it for charging the batteries, I did set the load to 0 so that there's no output going to the output side of the charge controller. It's a pretty basic charge controller. We'll see how it works. But in the meantime, we'll let it charge up for a while, and then we'll turn the generator off and see if it's doing its job.